what's really nice about this partnership is that you get to have multiple perspectives on what's actually a priority versus what are you putting on yourself because of mom guilt, because of societal expectations that at the end of the day only harm your well-being because it means nothing to you and your family, but you're doing it just because you feel like that's what will make you a good wife or a good mom. So much of our own happiness is tied to us starting to give ourselves permission on how do I want to do life in our family? Not what is everyone else doing? What should I be doing? But rather, what are our values? What's the future we're trying to build here? And what's the culture that we want to cultivate in our family? Are the things that we're doing aligned with that? Are we prioritizing the right things that will help us get to the kind of life that we're trying to build?
Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life in marriage? Let's dive in.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. Today we're going to talk about how you can show up as a supportive, intentional partner without putting yourself more at risk of burnout, right? This is about what we can control and what we can do to not put ourselves in that position anymore. And so much of this is from our own doing. It's from the choices that we're making, not always things that just end up on our lap, okay? And a huge part of that is that we have been equating being a good partner to doing more, right? We all know how society has raised females to be really concerned about other people, to nurture them, take care of them, so much that it has become part of our identity that we are having to kind of shed layers off of in order to break away from the people-pleasing part of us, the good girl that we strive to be when we were growing up, so that we can live more on our own terms rather than constantly doing things to please other people for external validation and identify as other than just living for ourselves, right? Truly taking the reins of making life our own and still choosing to be supportive, but intentionally, right? And what this looks like in the context of a marriage where you don't feel like you're doing all the things, where you do feel like there is a strong sense of partnership, means inviting partnership instead of replacing it with what essentially becomes you overgiving, you overfunctioning. So what this looks like on a day-to-day basis is you notice what needs to be done because we've been trained to, but also because we innately are different, right? Our brains are set up to notice different things than men. Not to say that they can't learn this, and I'm loving that there are parenting coaches out there who are teaching the notice and do methods. Specifically, the person I learned this from is actually Sam Kelly. She teaches this notice and do method with her kids, and she now teaches other people to do this as well, so that parents can raise boys and girls to take equal ownership of upkeeping a home, doing the domestic work, not automatically assuming that it belongs to the female, right? That is a very archaic way of doing things. If that's what works for you, though, like, you keep doing you. The point of this is, if this is not working and you are feeling resentful, then this is your cue to take a step back and take a look at what you can do to rebalance things so that you feel like you play a role, but you are not the only person playing a role in the family, right? So this goes along with noticing what needs to be done, taking the initiative, thinking ahead, and then filling all the gaps that you notice within the household and assuming that they all belong to you. And while this comes from a good place of you wanting things to run smoothly, you wanting to support other people and care for your family, you also want to feel supported. You also want your relationship to feel good. But the end result is that you feel like you're doing more than everyone else. You feel underappreciated and you're feeling the weight of carrying majority or all of the invisible labor. And with that comes deep resentment. Here's what's happening. When we overfunction in our marriage, in our house, this looks like doing things before your partner can get to it. This looks like taking over shared responsibilities. This looks like over explaining or overcorrecting, aka micromanaging. This also looks like managing everyone's emotions, making sure the house feels harmonious, making sure that things are running smoothly. If something feels off, you feel like it's your job to change that. And underneath all of that is fear fear of things not getting done correctly or right, a desire for control or predictability, right? Because that can often give a sense of peace in us. And also the avoidance of feeling uncomfortable when we let go of things and let other people take the reins. But here's what happens when we do that. When one partner overfunctions, the other naturally underfunctions. If something's getting done and you don't have to do it, then you are free to do other things, right? And it's not because the person who's not doing the things is incapable. It's because there's no space for them to step in and take ownership of it, either because there's no need to, or because when they did try, they were micromanaged and they weren't given any confidence in the ability to succeed or even get to the point where they can eventually succeed through practice and repetition and finding their own way of doing things. I have a past client who literally carried everything for the family, the mental load, the planning, the execution, all the things, and felt like her partner should just know. And because her partner wasn't doing things, she assumed, well, he just doesn't know or he's incapable. And so she felt like it all fell on her and she got really frustrated all of the time. And during our time that we worked together, we worked on how she can create space for her partner to step in to show that he is, in fact, there and wants to be there to support the family and feel like he is there with her in the trenches of doing life together, making sure the house runs smoothly, making sure the kids have what they need, making sure he's there for her as a partner. And it's not that he's helping, but rather he is her teammate, right? So that looked like pulling back strategically, getting her to a point where she felt comfortable with relinquishing some control, at the same time, doing it in baby steps so that she could build her trust that she can let go, that her husband will take care of it. We also worked on how she could improve how she communicated with her partner so that he was more in the know of what are her expectations, right? Not just handing out silent expectations where no conversation was had and all of a sudden she's frustrated about something that he didn't do when they never even talked about it. And we also worked on letting her partner experience more ownership, right? So this didn't look like delegating things. This looked like having a full on conversation about, hey, what are we each willing to take on? But more like, here's a list of all the things that go into helping our lives run smoothly. And, that list was created by both of them. And then they both looked at it and figured out, okay, this is what I'll do, this is what I'll do. And that's what created that ownership by each person because each person had buy-in. It wasn't like the wife was like, okay, here's a long list of things. These are the things you're going to do. No, because that's her continuing to manage him, right? If she is the one assigning, she's still in charge, right? So this needs to be less of her continuing to own it and more of, okay, here are all the ways that we can work together. What are the things that you're going to take? These are the things I'm going to take. And as a result, he started initiating more. He became more proactive. He got better about noticing that things that needed to get done. He started owning specific things that he would take care of. And she got to fully let go of those things because over time, she was able to rebuild the trust and confidence in him being her partner. And then because of that, her resentment started to decrease. She felt supported without doing more. She was still able to support the family without overfunctioning. She felt less burnt out. And because of that, she was able to free up her capacity. She started to feel lighter. She started to be able to act less serious around the home because she had less on her shoulders. And because of that, their physical and emotional intimacy got so much better to the point where they felt like romantic partners again. They were laughing together again and they were having fun together again. But before, it was all strictly business with her. It was like, okay, this is what we're doing today. This is what we're doing today. And she was just carrying so much, she literally didn't have the capacity to even be a partner or desire this partnership because she was just so focused on things needing to get done. And this happens to so many couples after they have kids because there is so much to get done. There is so much to juggle. And that's why you need a partnership in order for your marriage to thrive through it, right? You don't want to get to the point or stay in the status of being a co parenting roommate. If that's where you're at, then I want you to look at how are things divided up? Are you over functioning in your marriage? Have you talked about it with your partner to figure out how you two can redistribute what happens? Or maybe even in that conversation, you'll realize through his input that maybe you're doing stuff that isn't even necessary, but you thought it was because of how you grew up, or you thought it was because of societal expectations. So what's really nice about this partnership is that you get to have multiple perspectives on what's actually a priority versus what are you putting on yourself because of mom guilt, because of societal expectations that at the end of the day only harm your well-being because it means nothing to you and your family, but you're doing it just because you feel like that's what will make you a good wife or a good mom. And so much of our own happiness is tied to us starting to give ourselves permission on, hey, how do I want to do life in our family? What's the culture of our family? Not what is everyone else doing? What should I be doing? But rather, what are our values? What's the future we're trying to build here? And what's the culture that we want to cultivate in our family? Are the things that we're doing aligned with that? Are we prioritizing the right things that will help us get to the kind of life that we're trying to build? Sometimes the answer is no, and then you can drop it, right? Or you can hire out, or you can have your kids do it, depending on how old they are. There's a lot of different ways to offload things off your plate. And what I want to highlight here is when you overfunction in your marriage, this creates a parent child dynamic with your partner. It also creates an imbalance in the workload, and it causes a loss of attraction and emotional and physical burnout. And then your narrative becomes, I have to do everything. They don't care as much as I do, or I'm the only one that could do it right. So, what I want to offer you as a reframe is being a better partner is not about doing more. It's about creating a dynamic where both of you get to show up. You both shine in your own areas. You're both working together to keep the house running. There are the two of you, so leverage that. Okay? Now, here's what I have for you to do. If you're in this space where you're like, okay, I really want to do this and I don't know where to start, I want you to ask yourself, am I supporting or am I controlling? Okay? A lot of women tend to be in the controlling part when they have trouble letting go because they want things done a certain way. And part of being in a partnership means allowing space for people to do things their way. All that matters is that you guys agree on the end result. How we each get there is whatever works best for the individual, right? So if it's hard for you to watch how your husband loads the dishwasher or watch how he does something else, just walk away. Just go to a different room, right? At the end of the day, as long as the dishes are clean and the task gets accomplished based on your agreed upon outcome, then let them be, okay? They get to go on their own journey to figure out what works best for them. Another thing is start working on making your requests more clear instead of having silent expectations. When you notice yourself get frustrated, ask yourself, is this a conversation we've had? Did we talk about this? Were we in agreement with this? If the answer is no, then that's your cue to be like, okay, I should have communicated that. I'm frustrated at how this turned out, but I take ownership over not having communicated this in advance, right? And what this will allow is for you to step out of being manager and into partner, which means that you make decisions together. You guys do the work together. You guys problem solve together, right? If partnership is what you're wanting, then you've got to operate as a partner, not someone who's going rogue and just making all the calls and just hoping that your partner just goes along with everything, right? If you are feeling resentful, that's your sign that something needs to be changed. And sometimes that change can feel a little clunky because you're so used to knowing if things are complete, knowing when they're going to get done. And if you're feeling a little bit hesitant about this is where clear communication comes into play, right? Okay, so if you're going to redistribute what's going on, make sure that your partner and you guys agree on how often things need to be done or when they'll be done by, so that you're not left wondering, is it going to get done? Is it done yet? Because it's still taking up real estate in your mind, right? And so talking about how you experience this will help him understand, okay, so having clear communication on when things are done is going to help rebuild that trust and confidence in this partnership that you two are improving upon. So with that said, I have something for you that will help, okay? I have a free masterclass. It's called The Number One Conversation Couples Need to Have. And this will help you shift from overfunctioning or misalignment into more aligned partnership, okay? This video will guide you through being able to really think towards the future, right? Like, what are we working toward? And this will help you guys make decisions together so much easier because it will simplify it to, does this help us get closer to the future we want, or does it take us further away? Okay. And of course, if you are wanting personalized support to get through this time right now and move away from feeling like you are the manager and moving towards becoming more of a partnership so that you guys can enjoy each other again, schedule a clarity call with me. Okay. This is what I help my clients with. I help them communicate more clearly. I help them establish partnership that feels better between the two of them so that they can feel lighter and feel like they're truly in it together, doing life together, and want to connect. All right, let's get you connected again. So if that's you, schedule the clarity call. Let's talk about what's going on and how marriage coaching can help you. And if you know someone that could benefit from listening to this episode, please share this with them. Better yet, share this in your Instagram stories and tag me, and I'll give you a shout out. If you love this show, thank you so much for being a listener. I so appreciate you being here. Please consider leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's what helps the show grow and helps more people like you get the help that they need. And that's it for today. I'll catch you back here on the next episode. Bye.
That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perta Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.